Hey nerds, IzBox here. A little bit different because voiceover exists now. I decided that for some of the master badge and just like fun videos, 3 marking, the text is fine. There's other videos where I may want to talk about a tank or a line and the text just isn't going to cut it. Especially in this case with the Japanese medium line, just a line that people suffer with, how to possibly play it a little bit better, or just some examples of good play. So yeah, this line is really challenging. The tier 1 through 7 have absolutely nothing to do with the tier 8, 9, and 10. So there's no point in even talking about them. The tier 8, 9, and 10 Japanese tanks have high DPM, and that's kind of the selling feature, and they don't have too much else, question mark. Decent camo, good gun depression, but you're made of butter, and every time you get shot, you explode, and your crew dies, and things break, so you really can't rely on anything other than DPM. Really French-style trolley guns, where sometimes they just don't work no matter how hard you try, which is a nightmare. But when they do work, that DPM can give you amazing rounds, and it can be a lot of fun because these tanks are so out of meta that you really are playing almost a different game. It's challenging. One of the best premium tanks in the game is actually sort of a side branch of this line, the STA-2. And the reason it's good is on console, it has the same stats as PC, but PC sees tier 10 and the console version is preferential. So it's kind of an example of how much better these tanks are when they don't have to be absolute bottom tier. But, if you do like the STA-2 and, you want to try the tech tree line, it's not a bad idea. It can be interesting. It's certainly not going to win you any competitive matches, but sometimes you just want to do something different. I'll just preface by saying all these tanks need food, equipment, and highly skilled crews because you have to remediate the trolley gun as much as possible. I mean, I've seen some of the best players I know frustrated to the point of wanting to throw their controllers through the TV just because of how obnoxious these cannons can get. So I'm going to go over 2 matches. Ignore the XP values because it was during one of the events where you win more, you get more, and I think I had like 10 wins in a row. And I was using boosters just to get through the Type 61, which is the tier 9 Japanese tank. So the first one's going to be a city map, and it's going to show how you can still do well in a tank that you absolutely do not want to brawl in at all. And then the next one's a little more open in at Pearl River, so you can see how this thing can do when you have sort of mid-range engagements, because you certainly don't want to be chai sniping. So you can't brawl, you can't chai snipe, so what the hell do you do? These 2 maps and these rounds in particular show when things kind of go right, and I'll kind of walk through some of the decisions, and hopefully it helps you enjoy this line more, or you can just look at this and go, wow, I'm staying the hell away from it. Alright, so like I said, the first round is in a city map. It's in Ghost Town. I don't really like or dislike this map. You can have some pretty good battles. There's a lot of lines of attack within the city. Of course, artillery can still one blap you because it's super balanced. My goal is to get into the position over at E4 so I can get side shots if anybody's going to come across in the beginning, and then kind of take it from there. I mentioned that you can't brawl, so you really want to make sure that you have friends with you, because this tank and all of the Japanese mediums do very poorly when one-on-one, because they're pretty much never going to bounce. You're never going to eat a shot in your tracks. I mean, 1 in 100, it's pretty gross. So just going to head up that way and then give it a shot and see what we can do. Now, obviously, I'm showcasing this in the other round. Things went well. I'll tell you that things don't always go well. I mean, you can get clipped in the beginning of the round and have most of your crew or modules removed from your tank forcibly. They're just very soft tanks. So you need a little bit of luck as well. So we're heading up here. We see the light. We're spotted. We're going to try and get a shot. And do a little third-person aiming. And right there, my 105mm gun shot a light tank with no armor in the tracks and did nothing at all. So welcome to Japan, friends. Alright, time to go back to where we originally wanted to. I do like this hill. I actually start here a lot. It's a really flexible location. This is strange though. Usually you don't get this many people just giving you side shots. So this worked out really well. You can see, you know, high alpha, you can do 400-ish. And the reload's pretty crazy. I mean, it gets even better in STB. So this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's in a bad position. Basically just rest in peace, you know. Never go up on that side that early, because unless you're gonna hide. But you got to keep in mind, for where he's hiding now, there's a line of fire from the other side of our spawn, so it's kind of a bad idea. At least it's early, until you know where everybody is. So I'm gonna do something here. I don't think I've ever gotten as many side shots in. So I see on the left where there's a T-28 Proto, but nobody seems to be pushing around that corner yet. So I'm gonna sort of see what's going on. Alright, so that shot and the fact that he missed like that, I don't think he's a particularly strong player. I'm not looking up his stats. I'm not stat shaming. I just, you know, he could definitely eat a shot, and it looks like there was a little bit of panic. The deployment here is a little strange. Usually this would be a bad idea, but nobody's around the corner to my left, so I figure I'll just take him out. And so ends his sad and short reign on this map. The gun's behaving really well. Also something that's a little weird. So we'll see if that continues, but so far I've been really lucky. The Boghart is pushing up, which is great, and I decide I'm going to help him out. I know that the T-28 is at the bottom of the hill now. I saw him go down there. I have full health, and we're doing okay. It's not a guaranteed win, but we want to clean up this side and help out to make sure that we secure the win. So I see he just took a shot. I'm going to get rid of him. If he was facing me, I know he just shot, so it wouldn't really matter. Now this IS-3, you can pen a lower plate reliably with this tank. You don't have to load premium. This IS-3 got screwed. I think if I was him, I would have just shot at me, but there's no one around. So I'm basically just going to park here. I usually move around a little bit more, but... So, just harvest him. Poor guy. That Boghart is a champion. So the match is almost over. It was actually a pretty quick match. But I want to get more damage. So I decide I'm going to head over to where I think the rest of them are, and then they pop up so I can see them. And that Yag is actually pretty healthy. I'll tell you, at this point I'm very surprised with how this match went, because usually in city maps things, you just have problems with this tank. Unless you're ultra careful, but you have to be careful that you're not being too careful. Being overly aggressive in these doesn't usually pay, unless you're against a really weak player who just doesn't know what they're doing, because they can shoot you anywhere and do damage. So you can have a tendency to stay back too much, which you don't want to do. I take a shot, by the way. I just load premium. I want the kill, so I'm kind of blocking. Although anybody could have shot him, but that's the end of that. So be aggressive without being foolish, and shoot as many rounds as you can, and make sure that the gun, which is the only good part of this tank, has at least a chance to shine. It may not, and that's up to it, but that's kind of how you can play it. I don't expect to get that many side shots in usually, but things worked out. Alright, so this is a totally different style of map. There's longer sight lines. There are multiple corridors. What we want to do is make sure that we're in a position where we're supporting wherever our team goes. And here's the thing about this map. The teams generally go the 1 line, the 0 line. Those are the plays. You get some people going up the middle. This was a weird deployment for both our team and their team. As you'll see, there's some really poor plays immediately. There are people over pushing. So I don't like to spawn camp and just stick around where the spawn is, but that's kind of what ended up happening. So I don't ever leave past, I think, the H line, because I have so many targets that there's just no reason to do so. So I'm going to head up to the sniping hill and see what happens. My view range isn't horrible. I mean, I have a really good crew. I run food and optics and everything. And what you're seeing here is that the mobility of this tank, it's not bad. It can be a little sluggish up hills. All of them are that way. The mobility, I would say, is good enough. It won't hold you back. I wouldn't call it really strong, something that you'd rely on, but you can get around. This is much better than the STA one. That actually is a little sluggish. So we get up here, and there's already people spotted. And I don't think we're going to get a shot. But now, don't ever do what this guy's doing. This is just asking to die immediately. Driving out on the 3-4 line with no cover is just not a good play. You just have nowhere to go. So he's already taken a shot. See what happens here. Nope. Alright, well, it was a low percentage shot. Even with a good gun. So you could see that it's just not escaping. It's literally gonna sit there and let everybody harvest them, so that's fine. Our team will do that. This is where I was really surprised. They push super aggressive out here. Usually there's TDs and stuff where I am early on, and there's the gun, you know, behaving. So just be really careful. Like where this guy goes, that's way too far out, and he gets punished for it. Usually people do come through there, but much later in the map, after you know there aren't going to be a lot of people sitting in back, or even, you know, brawling. A lot of times you get people on the E line, and they can just come over that hill and help out if necessary. So this is, I would say, a little bit overly aggressive of these guys, and I'm just, you know, gonna do what I say don't do and try snipe. Although the distance isn't too far, it's not like 500 meters. I'm just trying to support my limited team down there. Yeah, we're not really deployed well. We are down by 2 tanks, and I think that's only going to get worse. So they do spot me. I back up. That, ouch. That bamboo works way better than it's supposed to. It's kind of a joke that bamboo is like super camo, even though it just sticks. But whatever, the game doesn't seem to know that. Our team is continuing to dwindle. 6-3. Could be worse, but they've taken out some of our larger tanks, which obviously has me worried. Gee, I wish that shot hit. Maybe we'll get another chance. Oh, there you go. That's that reload. The reload on this thing is magic. It's just the gun doesn't work most of the time. This guy should have gotten the hell out of there. This is just, I don't know, maybe he was stuck. I don't know exactly where he was, but that was not. I'm going to take a little risk here just to try and do something. I don't, that shouldn't have hit. Anytime you're snapshotting with this, it's questionable. And missed. I'll pay for that later. So things are going worse. We're down a lot. I'm like, how the hell are we gonna win this? And this is where I think the red team played really poor. They don't really have a coordinated attack to mop us up, and what you're gonna see is they kind of come in 1s and 2s, or they go out in the open. It's just, Not smart. The Centurion that's up here with me is a champion. You'll see him kick a lot of ass later. We wouldn't have won if he didn't carry with me there. I wish I could have helped him more. You'll see how this plays out. We get very defensive. This does have good gun depression, so we're gonna make that work. But for now, they're capping. I don't like that. I'm gonna miss this guy because reasons. We got behind something. We have time on the cap though, so I want to see if I can take this guy. Take another gun out. Can't. All right, let me go see who's over by the cap. So far, half health. Not too bad. I wouldn't call it a steamroll, but you know, playing defensive is really the only option I have with this, because if I get out in front, you know, I'll just get obliterated. So I want to use the decent camo, the decent mobility, and pray that my excellent DPM just shreds. Well, and that the gun hits and pens and everything. So this is looking like a good spot for me if I can spot, like actually see who I'm shooting at. I hope nobody's to my right. I mean, there's a lot of tanks over there. I'm just gonna have to assume that they're not. So they don't know I'm here, so I can't really blame this guy for doing this. But at the same time, you know, ouch, right in the butt. And then he stays right there, which again, you know, okay. Not, you got someone behind you, you should be aware of that. He's gone though. I'll see him later. He'll be our friend at the end. Take a blind shot. I have plenty of ammo for what's left, even though it may not look like it. You know, 8 rounds. 2,000-ish damage, right? 3, whatever the alpha is. And honestly, I'm not thinking about that right now anyway. I just see the Cent needs help, and I'm hoping I get there. Cent also is a great DPM tank. But look at this guy, he's a pro. I mean, 1 dead. Just beating people up, bouncing shots. It's awesome. I sent this guy a message after it. I was like, yeah, that was mostly you. Alright, so this isn't fair, because it's just a little tier 7. He probably doesn't like what's about to happen, but oh well. You know, good game. Alright, this 7-1 is pretty beat. He's like super one-shottable. I'm just trying to not be spotted. Okay. Now, there's 2 of us left against 3. We've really ratcheted it back in. And this team seems to like to come to us. So, I'm thinking here the best play is go defend, right? There's places you can be hold down. I still have decent hit points. Granted, my big tumor on top of my head sticks up, so any one of them can get lucky and do a lot of damage if they do shoot at me, but, you know, you just gotta figure out what the highest percentage play is and make it happen. I'm really worried about the bat chat. And the bat chat gets completely screwed, as you'll see in a little bit. That was the play that made the game, even more so than the last shot that was still pretty epic. This tank doesn't do well against autoloaders. So I'm going to go up here, use my somewhat okay vision. I mean, there's a bat chat, and, you know, there's tanks that can outspot me, but what are you going to do? So, Cent's kind of hanging out for a little bit. Alright, so we see him. I can't get a shot. The Cent kills him. That's awesome, but he gets bat chatted. The bat chat misses 1. I mean, that's crazy. So I figure he has 2 or 3 shots, and I'm like, forget it. I absolutely have to go for this. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, why he turned into me, and I'm very lucky I'm not dead. So I'm gonna hide, and I'm gonna hope this guy comes to the base. This is a really good hold down location because the bamboo, the cheaty bamboo exploits, definitely hacks. So I'm just going to chill. Because even if he's going to come over the hill, he's in the base. So I'm going to load premium. I'm going to give it a millisecond. And I'm going to pop up. I'm going to aim. He's around the corner. And that is the best shot I've ever taken with this gun. It never works that well. So, Descent, awesome. Good job, dude. But it was a pretty hard carry for both of us. And when the gun needed to work, it did, which was really nice. So this was a good round. The tank behaved. We definitely did a lot of damage, made a lot of money, got a lot of string theory experience. I think this was actually the last game I played in it. So, you know, that's pretty much the Japanese line in a nutshell. When it works, you can have great games that are fun. I mean, that was fun. There were times that were a little sweaty, but I'm just sitting there flinging shells, and yeah. So I hope you found these videos amusing or learned something from it. I do think the line is worth playing just because it is so different, as I said earlier on, and it's non-meta. And if you learn to play it properly, it can definitely improve your skills. And I think at some point when you're playing this game, that's what you should focus on, tanks that will improve your skills, because everybody likes it when you win more. All right. That's kind of it. See you on the battlefield.